go. Good morning, friends. Ronnie, I posted this week's menu in Facebook last night. I have a ticket in with Kajabi to see what's wrong. Can you send me on Facebook a screenshot of the error that you're getting? Because I want to have multiple screenshots to send them and say, my people are getting this error. All right. Good morning, girls. I'm back. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about my weekend because I'm just holding it together and doing okay, but it's been hard and I don't really want to talk a lot about it. So I'm just going to jump into devotions. I was telling the girls, I have been in such a daze the last 2 days that it hit me this morning. I got home from my walk and I'm shaking. I'm like, why am I so shaky? And I sat down in my chair with my coffee and I got thinking about yesterday and I thought, what did I eat yesterday? I went to the gym, forgot to eat my banana before I went. I came home, I drank my essentials, and then I sat there and thought, and I thought, and I thought, and I realized that I didn't eat a single thing all day yesterday. That's how much of a daze I've been in. Nothing. I didn't eat anything. Nothing all day. And not entirely sure my family did either. If they did, well, my daughter did because I think she ordered Wingstop, actually, now that I say that, because I saw it in the fridge, but I honestly don't even remember. Isn't that ridiculous? Ronnie, are you doing it from your phone? If you're doing it from your phone, do you have both the Kajabi and the Kajabi Community app? You need both apps on your phone if you're doing it from there. You have to have both apps. Thank you, Kimberly. It's been tough. All right, girls, let's jump on in. June 29th, Unfaithful Jerusalem, Isaiah 1:21 through 31. See how Jerusalem, once so faithful, has become a prostitute. Once the home of justice and righteousness, she is now filled with murderers. Once like pure silver, you have become like worthless slag. Once so pure, you are now like watered down wine. Your leaders are rebels, the companions of thieves. All of them love bribes and demand payoffs, but they refuse to defend the cause of orphans or fight for the rights of widows. Therefore, the Lord of heaven's armies, the mighty one of Israel, says, I will take revenge on my enemies and pay back my foes. I will raise my fist against you. I will melt you down and skim off your slag. I will remove all of your impurities. Then I will give you good judges again and wise counselors like you used to have. Then Jerusalem will again be called the home of justice and the faithful city. Zion will be restored by justice. Those who repent will be revived by righteousness. But rebels and sinners will be completely destroyed, and those who desert the Lord will be consumed. You will be ashamed of your idol worship. In groves of sacred oaks, you will blush because you worshipped in gardens dedicated to idols. You will be like a great tree with withered leaves, like a garden without water. The strongest among you will disappear like straw. Their evil deeds will be the spark that sets it on fire. They and their evil works will burn up together. No one will be able to put out the fire. The Lord's future reign. Isaiah 2:1 through 5. This is a vision of Isaiah, son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. In the last days, the mountain of the Lord's house will be the highest of all, the most important place on earth. It will be raised above the other hills, and the people from all over the world will stream there to worship. People from many nations will come and say, Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of Jacob's God. There he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the Lord's teachings will go out from Zion. His word will go out from Jerusalem. The Lord will mediate between nations and will settle international disputes. They will hammer their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation will no longer fight against nation, nor train for war anymore. Come, descendants of Jacob, let us walk in the light of the Lord. A warning of judgment, Isaiah 2:6 through 22. For the Lord has rejected his people, the descendants of Jacob, because they have filled their land with practices from the east and with sorcerers, as the Philistines do. They have made alliances with pagans. Israel is full of silver and gold. There is no end to its treasures. Their land is full of war horses. There is no end to its chariots. Their land is full of idols. The people worship things they have made with their own hands. So now they will be humbled and will be brought low. Do not forgive them. Crawl into caves in the rocks. Hide in the dust from the terror of the Lord and the glory of his majesty. Human pride will be brought down, and human arrogance will be humbled. Only the Lord will be exalted on that day of judgment. For the Lord of heaven's armies has a day of reckoning. He will punish the proud and mighty, and bring down everything that is exalted. He will cut down the tall cedars of Lebanon and all the mighty oaks of Bashan. He will level all the high mountains and all the lofty hills. He will break down every high tower and every fortified wall. He will destroy all the great trading ships and every magnificent vessel. Human pride will be humbled, and human arrogance will be brought down. Only the Lord will be exalted on that day of judgment. Idols will completely disappear when the Lord rises to shake the earth. His enemies will crawl into holes in the ground. They will hide in caves in the rocks from the terror of the Lord and the glory of his majesty. On that day of judgment, they will abandon the gold and silver idols they made for themselves to worship. They will leave their gods to the rodents and bats while they crawl away into the caverns and hide among the jagged rocks in the cliffs. They will try to escape the terror of the Lord and the glory of his majesty as he rises to shake the earth. Don't put your trust in mere humans. They are as frail as breath. What good are they? Judgment against Judah. Isaiah 3 1 through 5. The Lord of heaven's armies, will take away from Jerusalem and Judah everything that they depend on, every bit of bread and every drop of water. All their heroes and soldiers, judges and prophets, fortune tellers and elders, army officers and high officials, advisors, skilled sorcerers and astrologers. I will make boys their leaders and toddlers their rulers. People will oppress each other, man against man, neighbor against neighbor. Young people will insult their elders, and vulgar people will sneer at the honorable. In those days, a man will say to his brother, "Since you have a coat, you be our leader. Take charge of this heap of ruins." But he will reply, "No, I can't help. I don't have any extra food or clothes. Don't put me in charge." For Jerusalem will stumble and Judah will fall, because they speak out against the Lord and refuse to obey him. They provoke him to his face. The very look on their faces gives them away. They display their sin like the people of Sodom and don't even try to hide it. They are doomed. They have brought destruction upon themselves. Tell the godly that all will be well for them, that they will enjoy the rich reward they have earned. But the wicked are doomed, for they will get exactly what they deserve. Childish leaders oppress my people, and women rule over them. O my people, your leaders misled you. They send you down the wrong road. The Lord takes his place in court and presents his case against his people. The Lord comes forward to pronounce judgment on the elders and the rulers of his people. You have ruined Israel, my vineyard. Your houses are filled with things stolen from the poor. How dare you crush my people, grinding the faces of the poor into dust, demands the Lord of heaven's armies. A warning for Jerusalem's women, Isaiah 3:16 through 4:1. The Lord says, "Beautiful Zion is haughty, craning her elegant neck, flirting with her eyes, walking with dainty steps, tinkling her ankle bracelets. So the Lord will send scabs on her head. The Lord will make beautiful Zion bald. On that day of judgment, the Lord will strip away everything that makes her beautiful: ornaments, headbands, crescent necklaces, earrings, bracelets and veils, scarves, ankle bracelets, sashes, perfumes and charms, rings, jewels, party clothes, gowns, capes and purses, mirrors, fine linen garments, and head ornaments and shawls. Instead of smelling of sweet perfume, she will stink. She will wear a rope for a sash, and her elegant hair will fall out. She will wear rough burlap instead of rich robes. Shame will replace her beauty. The men of the city will be killed with the sword, and her warriors will die in battle. The gates of Zion will weep and mourn. The city will be like a ravaged woman huddled on the ground. In that day, so few men will be left that 7 women will fight for each man, saying, "Let us marry you. We will provide our own food and clothing. Only let us take your name so we won't be mocked as old maids." Promise of restoration, Isaiah 4:2 through 6. But in that day, the branch of the Lord will be beautiful and glorious. The fruit of the land will be the pride and glory of all who survive in Israel. Oh, come on now. All who remain in Zion will be a holy people, those who survive the destruction of Jerusalem and are recorded among the living. The Lord will wash the filth from beautiful Zion and cleanse Jerusalem of its bloodstains with the hot breath of fiery judgment. Then the Lord will provide shade for Mount Zion and all who assemble there. He will provide a canopy of cloud during the day and smoke and flaming fire at night, covering the glorious land. It will be a shelter from daytime heat and hiding place from storms and rain. A song about the Lord's vineyard, Isaiah 5, 1 through 7. Now I will sing for the one I love a song about his vineyard. My beloved has a vineyard on a rich and fertile hill. He plowed the land, cleared its stones, and planted it with the best vines. In the middle, he built a watchtower and carved a winepress in the nearby rocks. Then he waited for a harvest of sweet grapes, but the grapes that grew were bitter. Now, you people of Jerusalem and Judah, you judge between me and my vineyard. What more could I have done for my vineyard that I have not done already? Why, when I expect sweet grapes, why did my vineyard give me bitter grapes? Now let me tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will tear down its hedges and let it be destroyed. I will break down its walls and let the animals trample it. I will make it a wild place where the vines are not pruned and the ground is not hoed, a place overgrown with briars and thorns. I will command the clouds to drop no rain on it. The nation of Israel is a vineyard of the Lord of heaven's armies. The people of Judah are his pleasant garden. He expected a crop of justice, but instead he found oppression. He expected to find righteousness, but instead he heard cries of violence. Judah's guilt and judgment, Isaiah 5, 8 through 30. What sorrow for you who buy up house after house and field after field, until everyone is evicted and you live alone in the land. But I have heard the Lord of heaven's armies swear a solemn oath. Many houses will stand deserted, even beautiful mansions will be empty. 10 acres of vineyard will not produce even 6 gallons of wine. 10 baskets of seed will yield only 1 basket of grain. What sorrow for those who get up early in the morning looking for a drink of alcohol and spend long evenings drinking wine to make themselves flaming drunk. They furnish wine and lovely music at their grand parties, lyre and harp, tambourine and flute, but they never think about the Lord or notice what he is doing. So my people will go into exile far away because they do not know me. Those who are great and honored will starve, and common people will die of thirst. The grave is licking its lips in anticipation, opening its mouth wide. The great and lowly and all the drunken mob will be swallowed up. Humanity will be destroyed and people brought down. Even the arrogant will lower their eyes in humiliation. But the Lord of heaven's armies will be exalted by his justice. The holiness of God will be displayed by his righteousness. In that day, lambs will find good pastures, and fattened sheep and young goats will feed among the ruins. What sorrow for those who drag their sins behind them, with ropes made of lies, who drag wickedness behind them like a cart. They even mock God and say, "Hurry up and do something. We want to see what you can do. Let the Holy One of Israel carry out his plan, for we want to know what it is." What sorrow for those who say that evil is good and good is evil, that dark is light and light is dark, that bitter is sweet and sweet is bitter. What sorrow for those who are wise in their own eyes and think themselves so clever. What sorrow for those who are heroes at drinking wine and boast about all the alcohol they can hold. They take bribes to let the wicked go free, and they punish the innocent. Therefore, just as the fire licks up stubble and dry grass shrivels in the flame, so their roots will rot and their flowers wither, for they have rejected the law of the Lord of heaven's armies. They have despised the sword of the Holy One of Israel. That is why the Lord's anger burns against his people, and why he raises his fist to crush them. The mountains tremble, and the corpses of his people litter the streets like garbage. But even the Lord's anger is not satisfied. His fist is still posed to strike. He will send a signal to distant nations far away and whistle to those at the ends of the earth. They come racing towards Jerusalem. They will not get tired or stumble. They will not stop for rest or sleep. Not a belt will be loose, not a sandal strap broken. Their arrows will be sharp and their bows ready for battle. Sparks will fly from their horses' hooves, and the wheels of the chariots will spin like a whirlwind. They will roar like lions, like the strongest of lions. Growling, they will pounce on their victims and carry them off. They will roar over their victims on that day of destruction like a roaring of the sea. Someone looks across the land, only darkness and distress. If someone looks across the land, only darkness and distress will be seen. Even the light will be darkened by the clouds. Okay. Oh my gosh. Cindy. I can't believe I just did that. I can't believe I just did that. I can't believe I just did that. Okay, well, hello, ladies. Good morning. We're going to read devotions this morning from July 1st. Oh, my word. Oh, I'm a couple days behind Janet. I've been away. And so I've been off. I haven't been reading. No, you missed, Meredith, you missed me reading the 29th of June again. Because I just opened my Bible to where I left off on Saturday. Oh my gosh. Well, we're going to read some more. Be an extra long devotion today. Sorry, girls. Guess we all needed to hear it. All right. Well, welcome to July 1st. The last 2 days do not exist in my world. They are just, my face has been just nothing but tears for 2 straight solid days. And so I'm totally out of my, you guys, my whole routine is off. Everything is off. So, all right. Right, Nikki? All right. Okay, let's try this again, girls. July 1st. Hezekiah reopens the temple. 2 Chronicles 29, 3-17. In the very first month of the year of his reign, Hezekiah reopened the doors of the temple of the Lord and repaired them. He summoned the priests and Levites to meet at the courtyard east of the temple. He said to them, "Listen to me, you Levites. Purify yourselves and purify the temple of the Lord, the God of your ancestors. Remove all the defiled things from your sanctuary. Our ancestors were unfaithful and did what was evil in the sight of the Lord our God. They abandoned the Lord and his dwelling place. They turned their backs on him. They shut the doors of the temple's entry room and they snuffed out the lamps. They stopped burning incense and presenting burnt offerings at the sanctuary of the God of Israel. That is why the Lord's anger has fallen upon Judah and Jerusalem. He has made them an object of dread, horror, and ridicule, as you can see with your own eyes. Because of this, our fathers have been killed in battle, and our sons and daughters and wives have been captured. But now I will make a covenant with the Lord, the God of Israel, so that his fierce anger will turn away from us. My sons, do not neglect your duties any longer. The Lord has chosen you to stand in his presence, to minister to him, and to lead the people in worship and present offerings to him." Then the Levites got right to work. From the clan of Kohath, Mahath son of Amasi and Joel son of Azariah. From the clan of Merari, Kish son of Abdi and Azariah son of Jehalelel. That's a lot of lelels. From the clan of Gershon, Joah son of Zimmah and Eden son of Joah. From the family of Elizaphan, Shimri and Jael. From the family of Asaph, Zechariah and Mattaniah. From the family of Heman, Jehiel and Shammai. From the family of Jeduthun, Shemaiah and Uzziel. These men called together their fellow Levites, and they purified themselves. Then they began to cleanse the temple of the Lord, just as the king had commanded. They were careful to follow all the Lord's instructions in their work. The priests went into the sanctuary of the temple of the Lord to cleanse it, and they took out of the temple courtyard all the defiled things they found. From there, the Levites carted it all out to the Kidron Valley. Then they began to work in early spring on the first day of the new year, and in 8 days they reached the entry room of the Lord's temple. Then they purified the temple of the Lord itself, which took another 8 days. So the entire task was completed in 16 days. The temple rededication, 2 Chronicles 29:18 through 36. Then the Levites went to King Hezekiah and gave him this report. We have cleansed the entire temple of the Lord, the altar of burnt offering with all of its utensils, and the table of the bread of presence with all of its utensils. We have also covered all the items discarded by King Ahaz when he was unfaithful and closed the temple. They are now in front of the altar of the Lord, purified and ready for use. Early the next morning, King Hezekiah gathered the city officials and went up to the temple of the Lord. They brought 7 bulls, 7 rams, and 7 male lambs as a burnt offering, together with 7 male goats as a sin offering for the kingdom, for the temple, and for Judah. The king commanded the priests who were descendants of Aaron to sacrifice the animals on the altar of the Lord. So they killed the bulls, and the priest took the blood and sprinkled it on the altar. Next, they killed the rams and sprinkled their blood on the altar, and finally they did the same with the male lambs. The male goats for the sin offering were brought before the king and the assembly of the people who laid their hands on them. The priest then killed the goats as a sin offering and sprinkled their blood on the altar to make atonement for the sins of all of Israel. The king had specifically commanded that this burnt offering and sin offering should be made for all of Israel. King Hezekiah then stationed the Levites at the temple of the Lord with cymbals, lyres, and harps. He obeyed the commands of the Lord that the Lord had given to King David through Gad, the king's seer, and the prophet Nathan. The Levites then took their position around the temple with the instruments of David, and the priests took their positions with their trumpets. Then Hezekiah ordered that the burnt offerings be placed on the altar. As the burnt offerings were presented, songs of praise of the Lord were begun, accompanied by the trumpets and other instruments of David, the former king of Israel. The entire assembly worshiped the Lord as the singers sang and the trumpets blew, until all the burnt offerings were finished. Then the king and everyone with him bowed down and worshiped. King Hezekiah and the officials ordered the Levites to praise the Lord with the psalms written by David and by Asaph the seer. So they offered joyous praise and bowed down and worship. Then Hezekiah declared, "Now that you have consecrated yourselves to the Lord, bring your sacrifices and thanksgiving offerings to the temple of the Lord." So the people brought their sacrifices and thanksgiving offerings, and all whose hearts were willing brought burnt offerings too. The people brought to the Lord 70 bulls, 100 rams, and 200 male lambs for the burnt offerings. They also brought 600 cattle and 3,000 sheep and goats as sacred offerings. But there were too few priests to prepare all the burnt offerings. So their relatives, the Levites, helped them until the work was finished and more priests had been purified. For the Levites had been more conscientious about purifying themselves than the priests had been. There was an abundance of burnt offerings along with the usual liquid offerings and a great deal of fat from the many peace offerings. So the temple of the Lord was restored to service, and Hezekiah and all of the people rejoiced because of what God had done for the people, for everything had been accomplished so quickly. Preparations for Passover, 2 Chronicles 30:1 through 9. King Hezekiah now sent word to all of Israel and Judah, and he wrote letters of invitation to the people of Ephraim and Manasseh. He asked everyone to come to the temple of the Lord at Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover of the Lord, the God of Israel. The king, his officials, and all the community of Jerusalem decided to celebrate Passover a month later than usual. They were unable to celebrate it at the prescribed time because not enough priests could be purified by then, and the people had not yet assembled in Jerusalem. This plan for keeping the Passover seemed right to the king and all the people. So they sent a proclamation throughout all of Israel, from Beersheba in the south to Dan in the north, inviting everyone to come to Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover of the Lord, the God of Israel. The people had not been celebrating it in great numbers as required in the law. At the king's command, runners were sent throughout Israel and Judah, and they carried letters that said, O people of Israel, return to the Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, so that he will return to the few of us who have survived the conquest of the Assyrian kings. Do not be like your ancestors and relatives who abandoned the Lord, the God of their ancestors, and became an object of derision, as you yourselves can see. Do not be stubborn as they were, but submit yourselves to the Lord. Come to his temple, which he has set apart as holy forever. Worship the Lord your God, so that his fierce anger will turn away from you. For if you return to the Lord, your relatives and your children will be treated mercifully by their captors, and they will be able to return to this land. For the Lord your God is gracious and merciful. If you return to him, he will not continue to turn his face from you. Celebration of Passover, 2 Chronicles 30, 10 through 27. The runners went from the town to town throughout Ephraim and Manasseh and as far as the territory of Zebulun, but most of the people just laughed at the runners and made fun of them. However, the people from Asher, Manasseh, and Zebulun humbled themselves and went to Jerusalem. At the same time, God's hand was on the people in the land of Judah, giving them all one heart to obey the orders of the king and his officials who were following the word of the Lord. So a huge crowd assembled in Jerusalem in mid-spring to celebrate the festival of unleavened bread. They set to work and removed the pagan altars from Jerusalem. They took away all their incense altars and threw them into the Kidron Valley. On the 14th day of the second month, 1 month later than usual, the people slaughtered the Passover lamb. This shamed the priests and Levites, so they purified themselves and brought burnt offerings to the temple of the Lord. Then they took their places at the temple as prescribed in the law of Moses, the man of God. The Levites brought the sacrificial blood to the priests, who then sprinkled it on the altar. Since many of the people had not purified themselves, the Levites had to slaughter their Passover lamb for them. So, for them to set them apart for the Lord. Most of those who came from Ephraim, Manasseh, Issachar, and Zebulun had not purified themselves. But King Hezekiah prayed for them, and they were allowed to eat the Passover meal anyway, even though this was contrary to the requirements of the law. For Hezekiah said, "May the Lord, who is good, pardon those who decide to follow the Lord, the God of their ancestors, even though they are not properly cleansed for the ceremony." And the Lord listened to Hezekiah's prayer and healed the people. So the people of Israel who were present in Jerusalem joyously celebrated the festival of unleavened bread for 7 days. Each day the Levites and priests sang to the Lord, accompanied by loud instruments. Hezekiah encouraged all the Levites regarding the skill they displayed as they served the Lord. The celebration continued for 7 days. Peace offerings were sacrificed, and the people gave thanks to the Lord, the God of their ancestors. The entire assembly then decided to continue the festival another 7 days, so they celebrated joyfully for another week. King Hezekiah gave the people 1,000 bulls and 7,000 sheep and goats for offerings, and the officials donated 1,000 bulls and 10,000 sheep and goats. Meanwhile, many more priests purified themselves. The entire assembly of Judah rejoiced, including the priests and Levites, all who came from the land of Israel, the foreigners who came to the festival, and all those who lived in Judah. There was great joy in the city, for Jerusalem had not seen a celebration like this one since the days of Solomon, King David's son. Then the priests and Levites stood and blessed the people, and God heard their prayer from this holy dwelling in heaven. Hezekiah's religious reforms, 2 Chronicles 31, 1 through 21. When the festival ended, the Israelites who attended went to all the towns of Judah, Benjamin, Ephraim, and Manasseh, and they smashed all the sacred pillars, cut down the Asherah poles, and removed the pagan shrines and altars. After this, the Israelites returned to their own towns and homes. Hezekiah then organized the priests and Levites into division to offer the burnt offerings and peace offerings, and to worship and to give thanks and praise to the Lord at the gates of the temple. The king also made a personal contribution of animals for the daily morning and evening burnt offerings, the weekly Sabbath festivals and the monthly new moon festivals, and the annual festivals as prescribed in the law of the Lord. In addition, he required the people in Jerusalem to bring a portion of their goods to the priests and Levites so they could devote themselves fully to the law of the Lord. When the people of Israel heard these requirements, they responded generously by bringing the first share of their new grain, new wine, olive oil, honey, and all the produce of their fields. They brought a large quantity, a tithe of all they produced. The people who had moved to Judah from Israel and the people of Judah themselves brought the tithes of their cattle, sheep, and goats, and a tithe of the things that had been dedicated to the Lord their God, and they piled them up in great heaps. They began piling them up in late spring, and the heaps continued to grow until early morning. When Hezekiah and his officials came and saw these huge piles, they thanked the Lord and the people of Israel. Where did all of this come from? Hezekiah asked the priests and Levites. And Azariah, the high priest from the family of Zadok, replied, Since the people began bringing their gifts to the Lord's temple, we have had enough to eat and plenty to spare. The Lord has blessed his people, and this is all left over. Hezekiah ordered the storerooms be prepared in the temple of the Lord. When this was done, the people faithfully brought all the gifts, tithes, and other items dedicated for use in the temple. Conaniah the Levite was put in charge and assisted by his brother Shammai. The supervisors under them were Jehiel, Azariah, Nahath, Asahel, Jeremoth, Jozabed, Eliel, Ismachiah, Mahath, and Benaiah. These appointments were made by King Hezekiah and Azariah, the chief official in the temple of God. Korah, son of Imnah, the Levite, who was the gatekeeper at the east gate, was put in charge of the disturbing and voluntary offerings given to God, the gifts, and the things that had been dedicated to the Lord. His faithful assistants were Eden, Miniamin, Jeshua, Shemaiah, Amariah, and Shechaniah. They distributed the gifts among the families of the priests in their towns by division, dividing the gifts fairly among old and young alike. They distributed the gifts to all the male 3 years old or older, regardless of their place in the genealogical records. The distribution went to all who would come to the Lord's temple to perform their daily duties according to their divisions. They distributed gifts to the priests who were listed by families in the genealogical records, and to the Levites 20 years old and older who were listed according to their jobs and their divisions. Food allotments were also given to the families of those listed in the genealogical records, including their little babies, wives, sons, and daughters, for they had all been faithful in purifying themselves. As for the priests, the descendants of Aaron, who were living in open villages around the towns, men were appointed by name to distribute portions to every male among the priests and to all the Levites listed in the genealogical records. In this way, King Hezekiah handled the distribution throughout all of Judah, doing what was pleasing and good in the sight of the Lord. In all that he did, in the service of the temple of God, and in his efforts to follow God's law and his commands, Hezekiah sought his God wholeheartedly. As a result, he was very successful. There's July 1st. I still can't believe I did that. Oh well. Get a little extra Bible in you today. Never heard a single person to hear the word a little bit more, right? Janet, it's the chronological Bible. I have the 1-year chronological Bible. Mine is called Expressions. I don't think that has anything to do with I just think it's the look of the Bible, but it's the 1 year is the brand, and it's the chronological one. Right? It's a good thing my workout is tonight at 6 p.m. I'm doing my cardio drumming tonight. Yeah, thanks, Donna. It's really tough. It's really tough. And we don't plan to get another dog. So that's also really tough because the house is very empty. And we don't plan on getting another dog. And so that thought is really tough for me too. I know, Dory. That's because I read them. Year 5, I know these names. Amariah, Hezekiah, Jehiel. I know all these names. I'm not sure if you guys read out of this the last couple of days, but I'm not going to read it today. We'll get back tomorrow. I'll find out if you did, and if you did, we'll start there, or we'll just start where I left off. Thanks, Tracy. I'm going to post a link for it today. It's from Walmart. This is from Walmart. This was a gift for my birthday. Absolutely not, Meredith. Nope. Those two dogs are too energetic for KJ. Nope. Love mom. Don't want her dogs in my house. They're too much. They're too energetic for me. This you did not read out of the book. What's what, Janet? The book or the jumper? I'm going to post a link today to the jumper. It's shorts. It's a shorts overall. Yeah. All right, girls, let's go ahead and end our morning together in prayer. God, our Father, thank you that we can come together before you collectively, joining in your word to read your word. And thank you for the promises that the reading of your word does not return void. God, I thank you for each woman here and their faithfulness. And God, I just ask your blessings on each and every one of them today. I ask that you help us to be strong in our resolve to honor you with our bodies, to make choices that heal our bodies, honor you, and strengthen us so that we can be better servants in your kingdom. In your precious name, amen. Oh, the other book. The devotional we're reading right now is called Pots, Pans, and Prophecies by Rhonda K. Holland. We're going through all of her books right now. So Pots, Pans, and Prophecies. It's a 6-week study, but we just read a couple pages every day and just make it last. That is cold on my leg. And so we're about halfway through. We're on page 81 right now. It's about being a clean, empty, and willing vessel for the Lord when he calls on us to be used of him. So yeah, it's a good book. That's what we're reading right now. Oh, I just earned a movement award. Yay! All right, girls. I love you all. I am going to make breakfast this morning because I haven't eaten in like 36 hours. I'm telling you, my brain is misfiring hardcore. What's on today's menu? As you know, I'm doing a wisdom challenge with my team right now, and so we're following a menu, and I was completely off menu yesterday. I skipped the whole thing. I still can't believe that. I don't know how I did that. Today is today Tuesday? Yes, it's a creamsicle bowl. That's my recipe. That's my recipe that's in the wisdom book, or wisdom collection, I think. And it actually came from Dory. And then I tweaked it a little and it made it into the cookbook. We are going to make that together today if I have the ingredients, which I don't even know that I do. Do I have the ingredients? It may be a cherry flavored bowl because I don't know that I have the ingredients. But we'll jump on together and do that. And I hope you'll join me. And if not, I'll see you all back tomorrow for more devotions. It is, isn't it, Dory? It's weird. It's weird. I can be laughing one minute and then the next minute I'm laying on the floor hugging a dog toy and crying. It is your recipe, Dory. It is Dory's recipe, but it's now KJ's recipe in the book. I told them when I sent it to them, I said, this was given to me by a client. They put it under my name. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to steal your recipe, but it happened. It was an unintentional theft of Dory's recipe. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to make that this morning if I have the ingredients. I don't even know what's in it. Creamsicle is probably oranges. Do I have any oranges? No, I do not, but I do have hydrates. Maybe we'll make a cherry version of the creamsicle bowl. It'll be a cherry creamsicle. Is that a thing? I hope you'll join me.